Welcome back. This is our last main trait, extraversion. I have a particular personal relationship with this trait because in 2016, when I did my first EPA test, which is not this one, but many versions ago, I had a really, really low extraversion trait. And I discovered, contrary to what I believed at the time, I discovered that I was selective in nature and that this was killing my business. Because what you will see going forward with this amazing behavioral trait is that when you are not open to connect and to receive the external world, you are actually closing yourself off to a bunch of amazing, magical synchronicities and opportunities. And I'm not talking just business and money, I'm talking about people and earth angels that you might meet and actually enrich your life. So this particular trait, this particular lesson is very, very dear to me on a personal level. Let's dive right in. What does this trait show? Extraversion indicates the quality of a person's first impression, their ability and willingness to interact with strangers. So when this trait is high, the person is eager to get to know others and generally makes a very good first impression. As the value of the trait decreases, the person shows reluctance to get to know others, shyness, selectivity, mistrust. It appears as a lack of interest, but it is in truth a fear of opening up and connecting to other people. A high extraversion trait facilitates those who are in contact with the public and those who have to approach new customers. So anyone who is in sales, anyone who's in customer care or service, anyone who is in marketing, at least the social media type of marketing, maybe not the behind the scenes marketing, needs to have this trait mid to high. Someone with a high extraversion trait easily forms interpersonal relationships, and they are likable and they put forth effective and persuasive communication. They are fun to be around. The higher the trait, the more open the person is. And people with a very high trait tend to speak a little too much and sometimes regret having said too much. Okay, they cannot hold a secret because they are so open to share and communicate. The lower the trait, the more distant and uninterested and shy and detached they are. People with very low traits tend not to communicate everything they think. So they appear to be a little bit enigmatic, maybe a little bit snobby, or a little bit full of themselves, because they have this attitude of not connecting, and they also hold back part of the communication. Have you ever spoken with someone who replies in yes or no answers? And even if you ask an open-ended question like, so how was your trip? Which is an open-ended question. How was your trip? Good. Well, what do you think about this new procedure that we are going to implement in our team? Okay. They have this amazing ability to respond with one word to open-ended questions. So if you are having a conversation with them, you really must lead and guide that conversation. If you are coaching or consulting, a client that has a low extraversion trait, you need to slowly help him out of that trait. Let's look at a couple of relationships. When you have low extraversion, low understanding, and low empathy, so all the three relational behaviors are low in the EPA test, the person might have demotivating influence on others. So they might tend to communicate in a demotivating way, especially if they are under pressure, especially if they're tired, stressed, anxious, preoccupied, or angry. Another relationship is between high extroversion and high determination, but low understanding and low empathy. This means that you will tend to talk a lot about what you want and why you want it and how other people can give it to you. So it's a bit of a T-Rex communication style. Okay, so a lot of business owners sometimes have learned to be very extroverted, to tap into that connection with other people, and they're very determined, but they lack the empathy and the understanding to create a solid base for human relationships. This will compromise their level of leadership. This will compromise the quality of relationships that they are able to build, and we must help them through this. Because extroversion is not only important for doing good business, it is important because the more extroverted and outgoing a person is, the more alive they will feel. Very introverted people often tend to withdraw from experiences that could, if they would go into them, enrich them and expand them and elevate them and help them grow. So they explore their inner world a lot, but they explore very little of the outside world. And a lot of opportunities, romantic, economic, any type of opportunity is in the outside world. On the contrary, extroverts are explorers of the outside world, and they tend to ignore the enriching values of a good introspection. So, as always, the right way is in between, is to discern when I need to be alone, be still, go within, be with myself. So, stay connected to myself, and when I need to be out there and talking to people, meeting people, helping people, creating things with people. So it's a matter of teaching our clients to learn to discern when it's time to be extroverted and happily extroverted, and when we can be introverted.